Volkman, you're in the library. That's right, I got to lower my voice. I still hear it from my wife, Jody. So, Jody and I got married in 2014, and so Mom was blessed to know Jody all those years. So it was about 7 years ago, 6 or 7, right before the big fire, that we moved Mom and Bill down to Fresno, and we've had the joy of having her with us all these years. Bill last year fell and broke his femur. He ended up getting a walker the week before Mom needed one. Mom went all these years without needing a walker. She just had a cane the last couple of years. So he doesn't travel. So he wanted to give his best to all of you here. And, you know, certainly thinking, a couple of days ago this week, he pulled out a Calistoga yearbook. Your year, when you guys won the state championship in basketball, it's funny to see that and to see some other people. Because remember, Mom was librarian for about 20 years there. She started the library the year after Jim and Joe and I graduated. Bill's senior year, class of 69, she started the library there in Calistoga. And she also, of course, worked at the church there with the Heavenly Angels. Eda, were you in the Heavenly Angels singing with her? I know Jody was. Jody was in the Heavenly Angels. They took some trips.
Yeah, we didn't take trips, but Jody, she always convinced us to sing the same music.
Yeah, Jody and well, that's same. If you look at the pictures, her hairstyle never changed.
Never changed.
Oh my God, Bill found a couple of these pictures. He was looking through her drawers this last week, and every year those earmuffs were there. That never changed with her. But just a couple of brief things. She was born June 10th, 1924 in Montana. Her dad was a rancher. She was the youngest of 7 kids. Her dad came over from Ireland. Her mom family came over from Norway. And then in Montana, her dad was also a preacher. He rode the circuits back then. And then when she went to high school, they moved into Wheaton, Illinois, because a couple of her brothers were going to Wheaton College. So she graduated from Wheaton High School, went to Wheaton High School, and that's where she met my dad, who had already been in the war. My dad was, as a lot of you know, he was in the Battle of the Bulge. And he would never let us forget it. Right now, he would be going, "Where are my gloves?" I took a vow never to be cold or hungry again, because it was so cold. If you know anything about the Battle of the Bulge, it was really bad. So, anyway, they met at Wheaton College in the late 40s. And my dad pursued her, but her parents moved out to Portland, Oregon. And they my dad's mom kind of had this long distance breakup and stuff. But anyway, they eventually got married in 1949 up in Oregon. They honeymooned at Mount Hood. And then my mom said, "I'm never marrying a preacher." Well, my dad was going to be a history professor. He had gone to Northwestern to get his master's. Well, he decided to become a preacher. So they went to Fuller Seminary, which is down in Pasadena. Both Bill and I were born in Pasadena in 1950 for me and 51 for Bill. And then his first pastorate, they moved to a place called Phoenix, Oregon, which is right between Ashland and Medford. It's a small town, and my dad was there for 2 years. I went to first grade there. And about 2011, I wanted to do the Crater Lake Marathon, and Mom and I said we wanted to go up there, because have any of you ever been up to Ashland for the Shakespeare festivals? So my mom had actually had a class at Southern Oregon College with Angus Bomar, who was the professor that started the Shakespeare there. So even after we moved to Calistoga, we would go up there every few years. So my mom said, "I want to go up there with you." So we went to a couple plays. I did the Crater Lake Marathon, and that was really a fun trip for us. Dad was assistant pastor at Oakland First Presbyterian Church. That's where Bill and I went to elementary school up through 5th, 6th grade for me. We moved here in 1962. Most memorably, that was the year the Giants beat the Dodgers in the playoff, and heartbreaking, they lost in the 7th game on Willie McCovey's line drive that they caught. Bill and I were just talking about that last week. That's the vivid memory of '62. And then, of course, we went on to high school. Mom and Dad were there at Calistoga or Community Presbyterian Church until my dad retired in '90. And they asked my dad, "Are you guys moving?" He goes, "Move? I'm right here." He says, "This is the closest thing to heaven I know." So of course they stayed here. My dad developed dementia and Alzheimer's, passed away in 2005, and it was about a 7-year period. And my mom, every day, she was so strong through all that. They would always ask her, "How did you do that?" And she would say, "One day at a time, the Lord every day got me up." She always had a smile. Like, you always hear about how hard it is on caregivers. It never seemed to wear on her. And of course, Bill was there all that time to help her physically and all. So it was just amazing. The next year, she was still great. We went to the Boston Marathon. Bill and I did the Walt Disney Marathon, and Mom went on that trip. So she did some number of trips and got to travel. We went back to Wheaton, a lot of her relatives. In 2013, I met Jody. I coached her to her first marathon in Fresno. Then we went to do the Knoxville Marathon, where I have cousins that live in that area. My mom flew out with us to meet Jody's mom, who lives in Kentucky. They got to meet each other there. And I told Jody's mom, "Can I propose to your daughter at the Boston Marathon?" And that's how that got together. But it was so neat that the moms got to meet each other. And that was really special. And meet Jody's stepdad. Mom never met your dad, I don't think. Your real dad. They never got connected. They lived in Indiehurst. Jody's dad passed away last year. The same day that the funeral was for her dad in Indiana was when Bill fell. That was really a tough day. Mom is having some issues, but anyway, that's another side. But anyway, it was great that the moms, that really meant a lot to all of us. I was so sad that Dad never got to meet Jody, but Mom did, and that was really special. And the moms loved each other. They really, Nancy, which is Jody's mom, came out to visit. And when they came out to visit was when Mom and Bill were being moved. Nancy helped us to meet you. During the time Mom was the librarian at Calistoga High, Pat Pence, Jim's wife and Steve's mom, was a longtime library tech, and that was really something. She and Pat remained great friends over the years. We correspond, talk on the phone, and so on. And that was really, her best friend, especially after she moved to Fresno there. And Jody's actually came down to see Mom not too long ago, and that was the wonderful thing. So many of our cousins, this last year, some of them came out from Tennessee. We said, "We want to see Mom while she's here. We don't want to come out for a funeral." Important. And that's one of the reasons we aren't having the big things, because cousins from Tennessee and then our local cousins in the Northern California area have been to see her, and all her peers are gone.
Yeah, and that's more important.
So this is why we're kind of keeping this on the down low here. And thanks to Dan, we are getting a plaque made up to match my dad's plaque. Melissa's been really helpful with the city, getting all the taken care of.
Yeah.
In about 3 months or so, the plaque will be here, and people can come up and see that, and we may, get some of our cousins here to come and see that. So anyway, up about 2 weeks before Mom passed.
10 days.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, my cousins came from Tennessee. They're both nurses. And that's when Mom started getting ill. They were there to minister for her last week. And then, I know a lot of you know Amy Flickinger. Amy Flickinger now lives in Idaho, and she and Glenn drove out. They got there a couple days before Mom passed. The night that we knew it was getting imminent, she was on hospice in their home. She wanted to be home. Amy stayed up all night with Mom, read the whole book of Psalms to her. And Mom is so polite. She didn't want to wake us up in the middle of the night. Amy called us at 4:30, which is when we get up to run, and told us that Mom had passed there. But it was just so Mom. Because Bill and I would talk and say, we can't ever remember her getting mad or ever yelling at her. And we don't even remember her being sick. She was so healthy all the way until those last 2. It was a urinary tract thing that boom, boom, boom. And that was it.
Her time.
We played cards with her when my cousins were there in those last 2 weeks. So it's just a blessing. And that's one reason I go, I have nothing to be sad about. Who else gets 99 years and 4 months out of this world?
Life well lived.
Yes, yeah. And we know where she is. She's there with the Lord. She's there with her bear. And it's just a blessing that her life has been to everybody, as you all can be witness to. You know, Bill and I go, we were the luckiest kids in the world. To know my dad and my mom, they never fought. They just were. What you saw is the way they always were. You know, my dad used the belt a couple times on us when we were kids, and we probably deserved it. But other than that,
yeah, but she was not involved in that.
Yeah, we knew we had done wrong. We put sliding pads on one time. No one ever stupid. So anyway, thank you all for coming here. I don't want to go on too long here. The sunshine has come through here between the rain. I was pointing out to Jody the roads Bill and I used to run: Cordham Canyon, Diamond Mountain, going out Franz Valley. And we just love this valley, and it's so wonderful that Mom and Dad could be here, and there's room for Bill and me right here under my foot. But thank you all for coming here, and I will officially end this.
Wait a minute.
Anybody else that wants
They said they would try to squeeze me in.
Yeah.
There's a little space right there. We can put you right next door.
We can put your ashes in his box.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But if anybody else wants to say anything,
Pete Tedeschi, my golf partner.
Oh, yes.
I don't know how many times he asked me, he says, does Beth Volkman go to the beauty shop every month?
Yes. Yeah. But there was never out of place there. And, you know, Pete Tedeschi was our baseball coach. He was a minor league ball player. He coached
atheist. And I walked into Calistoga, and everybody else was in 4th grade. Everybody else was so excited about catechism class. Never heard of it. We came from Japan. I was an army brat. And I said to my mom, hey, they're all excited about catechism. What's that? And she's like, oh, it's like a religious class after school. I said, can I go? She goes, yeah, you can go, but you can't go Catholic. You have to go Protestant. So that's how I ended up at the church.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And I landed in your family somehow. Blessed to be in your family in 4th grade going, who's God? What's God? Because I was raised atheist. I had no clue. And I tell you, probably within 6 months, I was praising Jesus and singing in the choirs. Your mom turned my life around. And my family, they didn't overnight, but by the time my father died, he was Christian.
And didn't you get baptized
Very
in
well.
the trailer park pool? Didn't you get baptized in the trailer park pool?
I did get
'Cause I was there
baptized.
for your baptism.
Were you really?
That was, you were older.
I was 18.
Yeah.
I brought so many non-Christians in that high school to see Jesus without even knowing it. Did you read all those? Chad Hawkins. She brought Chad Hawkins to Jesus. That's a miracle in itself.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
My whole point of this homily is we need to honor your mother
Yes.
by bringing other people to Jesus. We need to live our lives like your mother.
You know, when it
Just
happened,
quiet Christians.
it happened this morning
Quiet
in the
Christians.
restaurant. The lady, I told her about this, and she said, how did your mom live to be 99? I said, she loved Jesus. And the lady goes,
Exactly.
I do too. And we talked.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's got the love of
She's the-
Jesus, and I
that's
tell
the
you, we got to
old-
pass it on.
And she would witness to anybody at the grocery store as she went in with us. And
She would give everyone love that wanted it.
Mhm.
Everyone love that wanted it. She did not judge anyone. She handed everyone love unconditionally. And if we don't do that in her honor, We're missing the pool.
You know, one of her favorite things to do